Hello, everybody. I'm glad you're here today. I'm going to bring you a dream that my dad had on May 18th, 2023. I can't wait to bring you this dream. I will warn you ahead of time. My dog, I don't know what's gotten into her today, but she's being a real toot. So ignore her. Whatever she does in the background, just ignore it. Now then, this dream, y'all, has a lot of hope to it. It has a lot of teaching. There's an element to it that's like wow. There's a wow element to this dream. Listen to it all the way to the end. It's not very long. Now then, once again, you discern this yourself. I believe this dream is from God. You pray, and all I'm doing is just bringing you what I think I'm supposed to bring you, and so that's that. Okay, May 18th, 2023. My dad was in a nice suit and was returning from an event where he had to dress up. And he was going towards a church building and he knew he was running late. And things had already started inside the church building. He knew the class he was supposed to go to. It was familiar. He entered and he was greeted by a man who knew his name. And if my dad felt very awkward and uncomfortable. He went to the Bible class. Everyone looked at him as soon as he walked in and entered, and he kind of sat towards the back of the classroom. My mom came and sat with him, and once again, he had this weird feeling. Then the class was dismissed. And he felt so uncomfortable. He just left the building with my mom. They both left together. They went outside the building and they came to a bridge. They were walking a little while. They came to a bridge that had concrete sides that were like 2 feet. The sides were like 2 feet to 4 feet high. While they were standing at this bridge, they hadn't crossed it yet. They were just at it. A group of people joined them and came around them, and they seemed to know each other. My dad told them that he had been there before, but so it was all familiar. There was a river, and the river was running beside the bridge, so the bridge didn't cross the river. The river was running beside it, so the bridge did not go over it. In the distance was a hill, and it had a high peak, and there was a roadway coming off of it. And my dad said, that is really steep hill. I've been on it before. And coming off of it, you're able to hit a cross, if you hit it crossways, to slide across the river to get to the other side. But now the river is flooded. So my dad said you have to kind of go down the hill in a certain way so that when you hit the water, it crosses you over to the other side in a certain way. But now the river was flooded. There was a tree beside the bridge where they were standing, and there it was very dark brown, and there were the tree. The tree was not dark brown. There was just a lush tree, and there were dark brown bottles hanging from the tree. My dad said it could have been fruit, but it was shaped like a bottle growing off of the tree beside the road. So my dad plucked a bottle off of it, and it had like a strange lid, or whatever it was at the top of the fruit or the bottle, whatever it was strange. And my dad twisted it off and was able to drink what was inside. And oh my, it was so good. It tasted so good. And he gave it to the others to taste, and they liked it. And the others plucked off the bottles or the brown fruit, whatever it was, they plucked it off the tree. And it felt like they were all gathering for someone to cross the bridge to come get them. After they drank what was in the bottles, there was a feeling that they were waiting for someone to cross the bridge to come get them. Someone said, "Come, look." And we looked under the water by the side of the bridge, the river that was running beside the bridge. They looked into the water, and there were 3 cars under that flooded river. 2 black cars and 1 white car. And someone said, because of the flood. Because of the flood. So those cars were under there because of the flood. Then there was this murmur among the group. And someone said, "Someone is coming. Let's get in a circle and hold hands." So my dad joined the circle, and they were all by the bridge. They were all gathered in a circle holding hands. All of a sudden, the circle parted hands, and this man who had crossed the bridge joined the circle. They all held his hands. The man who had crossed the bridge and was now a part of the circle looked right at my dad and called him by name and said, "Will you lead us in prayer?" And my dad said a prayer. And he had this overwhelming feeling. He was just compelled to do whatever this man said. My dad didn't know him or the group, really. He couldn't see the man. I mean, he was looking at the man, but there was nothing distinguished about him in the dream. It was just a man. And he felt compelled to do whatever that man said. And that's the end of the dream. Now then, there's a lot to this dream. I think one of the most, the end of it is to me the most compelling part. I kind of like to start with that part, but I'll go ahead and there seems to be an issue with whatever was in the church building and whatever was at the bridge. And I really, to tell you the truth, I had a hard time understanding the river running beside the bridge. I have a hard time picturing what that must have looked like in the dream. But regardless of that, at the church, my dad was dressed up, and that's not really the way he rolls. It did not feel comfortable. It felt strange and weird. I think that represents institutional church that might be probably emphasizing things that aren't as important as other things in your Christian walk. So that's what I think that whole church thing was going down. When he came to the bridge, I think they were waiting for someone to cross. I think that's the whole purpose of why they were there. They were waiting for someone to cross and come get them. Now then, the hill in the distance and going down the hill and crossing the river, I'm not sure what that represents. It was a way to get across the river. I don't understand that. I don't even understand visually exactly what he was seeing in the dream, except it was a very high hill. The river was flooded. Now then, the thing about the river being flooded that he was telling me about was it was as if destruction had happened. And it was as if destruction, the flooded river, was not a positive thing. It was as if something had happened that ran parallel to the bridge, if that makes sense. So when they looked in and saw the 3 cars in there, it was as if that that is gone. That time is gone. Driving cars is gone. Something, there was a lost, a sense of that season, whatever that is with cars, is over. It's been flooded. It's been taken away. So there was that sense in the dream, even though that nothing was verbalized about it in the dream. Now then, the tree beside the river. I wonder if this represents the tree of life in Revelation 22. I think it possibly could be. At first, he described there were, he said there were brown bottles growing on the tree. And, and then later he said, but maybe it was fruit. It wasn't dead as in brown dead, but they were shaped like, bottles, but you had to pull them off. And when you drank it, it was a wonderful taste. I would say, to me, that represents the tree of life. And I think there's a lot of this elements in this dream that are in Revelation 22. That's my takeaway. Y'all tell me what you think. But they all took it. It also reminded me of communion. That as soon as, they took and drank the fruit or whatever that was, and they were all together. They had a commonness to them. And as soon as they drank it, someone, it was as if they felt they were waiting for someone to cross, and someone said, look. So as soon as they drank that, they could see, they saw the cars first, and then they saw someone coming for them. It was as if, my dad said, they knew this man crossing the bridge to them, was coming for them to cross back over the bridge together. That's what it felt like. So, I think that's talking about, the cars, something about time the world is gone. I think it's obvious that this represents Jesus coming back for us. I think that the return of Christ, and that we need that there's a remnant, probably. That remnant, the people at the bridge weren't at the church building now, were they? And this man, who I think represents Christ, he didn't go knocking at that church building door. He was where these people were waiting for him, at the bridge, at the bridge to cross over. In other words, not everybody goes to church is part of the family. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. So there's a remnant. That's what this reminds me of, is a remnant. And they're the ones who are serious about their faith and serious about waiting and following and looking for Christ. The cars, the two black and the white, okay, I thought of a couple of things with that. I'm not real sure about them. To me, the fraction 2/3 came to mind, and 1/3. There's a lot of 1/3 in Revelation 8 and 9. So, there's that. But I also, because there were two were black and one was white. If that represents the darkness and the light, it means there's not very much light. There's not as much light as darkness. There's not as many people that are going to cross that bridge as is going to be lost in the darkness. Jesus says, it's the road is narrow, and it's just a few. There's just a few of us. So that I wondered about that, if that's what that meant. I don't know. They were under the flood. They had been flooded. Another thing my dad said, it was like the ark, like the flood, like there was a sense of devastation and destruction kind of like what you would think the ark was. So the things that stuck out in the dream to my dad were the bottles, fruit that he plucked off the tree. The cars, the 3 cars were a big thing that stuck with him. Uh, and being with the group when the man crossed the bridge. Though that was really cool. So whatever that was, whatever that represents, whatever that tells us is coming, that's where we want to be. I think we want to be right there waiting for Jesus to come and getting us. Definitely, my dad in the dream did not feel, I'm reading the notes here, did not feel like he was supposed to be or wanted to be at that church building. There was something not right about it. So it was very much contrasted with the group at the bridge and the river. He didn't know the people intimately at the bridge, but they were all okay together. And that's what it felt like. And maybe the hill part of it was like higher ground. Like you're to go to higher ground. Those are his impressions as he was telling me. All right. Yeah, there's a lot in that dream. There's a lot in that dream. One of the things I felt very compelled to say, if you've made it this long in the video, thank you. This is something I want to challenge you with. I just flat out need to ask you, when you go to church, are you a part of it, or are you just punching your card? Doing what you're supposed to do, what you think you're supposed to do on Sunday morning, and not really understanding the idea of worship and coming into the presence of God as a family, as believers. Are you part of that? I guess I'm just asking, are you part of the group at the bridge waiting for someone to come get you to cross over? Or are you at the church building where something's not right there? Something is not right. So you have to decide that for yourself. You examine your own life and decide. I thought it was a fascinating, encouraging dream. I hope it helped you. I never ask you to like or share a dream. Never do. But to me, this one's encouraging and powerful. I would ask you to share it with people because I think it gives hope, and it also helps us want to change. If you need to change and get out of that church building and get down by the bridge, by the cross, do it. Do whatever it takes to do that. All right. Keep focused on Jesus. This is Gina Lima Charlie. I'm out.